I have not been live in over a week because I have been busy, but I am here now. We're going to talk about the job market because I am getting so many questions about stuff. So let me know in the comments if you can see me. I'm trying to see if I'm actually broadcasting. It says that I am. So I'm assuming that I am, but let's make sure. Let's make sure this is coming through. So say hello if you are watching. Yeah, it's on. It says it's on. Everything's on a slight delay. Okay. Oh, Macy, don't start. Do not start to barking. We're not gonna go there because that's not gonna happen. Anyhow, I've been getting a lot of comments lately. I've been getting a lot of comments on my posts because people are obviously, for good reason, kind of feeling like they don't know what to do with the way the job market is right now. And I completely understand that. Hang on. Macy wants to be on the stream, apparently. So say hello to Macy. And here comes Milo. I am dog sitting for my daughter, who is house sitting someone else's pets. So I am watching her animals um, while she watches somebody else's animals. It's so funny. Anywho, all right. So let's get into it because I keep getting a lot of comments on my posts that I've been putting up about the job market. In fact, someone just commented on Instagram who's in Arkansas, and she said she's educated, experienced, and laid off 2 months ago, panicking because ageism is real and the job market isn't moving. And I completely get that. But this is the time when you don't wait for the job market to come back. You start packaging your skills up. The job market's not coming back the way it was before, and it's not coming back the way people expect. People are applying into like the void, the black hole, and not understanding why nobody's getting back to them. And I understand that that's the way that people kind of used to doing it, right? Like just apply, keep applying, and all of that stuff. That's not going to help you if, in fact, you aren't getting any responses. So, if you want to get ahead of this um, or stabilize yourself, then now's the time to start your own thing. And that may seem scary. It's not as hard as you think, as long as you have a roadmap and a plan. And the place you need to start is actually in figuring out what skills you have match what people actually are paying for, what they're asking for, whether that's a company or an individual. I know a lot of people in corporate have considered getting into advisory work, fractional employment. And I know other people that are like, I don't know what to do. But honestly, it's a lot easier than you actually think if you can first figure out what of your skills people actually want and need right now. So, if you have questions about your specific situation, what you've been doing, like put it in the chat and I'm happy to help spitball it with you, right? I have a lot of people that ask me, well, how much money can I make? And that is a big question that deserves an answer, but it depends entirely on what you're building and who you're building it for. And that's actually the wrong question to start with. The first right question is, what do you have and who needs it? So that's the first step for everybody. You know, I created what's called the Income Archetype Quiz, and it's free, completely free. Links in my bio. But that quiz takes you through a series of very specific crafted questions to find out how you're wired currently, because we all kind of move through the archetypes, how you're wired currently to make money, to run a business. Do you have what it takes? What's blocking you? And then what are your first steps so that you can get unblocked? Trying to help y'all as much as I can because I know what it's like to lose a job. I've lost a couple jobs in my lifetime. The first one, I was 19 and they gave us no notice. I don't know. For those of you who are Gen X, yeah, Gen X. You probably remember Schick Hospitals. Any of you guys remember that name? Back in the 80s, that was, they were the addiction solution, whatever. I lived in Orange County, California, and I worked for Schick headquarters. And on a Friday at 3 p.m., 3 on a payday, they called a company-wide meeting. They brought us all into the big open area of the company and told us that we no longer had a job. Oh, and we filed bankruptcy. Oh, and you're not gonna get paid for the last 2 weeks. They knew that. They knew that the entire flipping time. They waited until their bankruptcy was settled, finalized in the courts to let us go and to let us know. Like, we were so mad. So please clear out your desks. That was my first experience in corporate, um, of unexpected, here you go, and you don't have a job anymore. Thankfully, I had a second job at the time. I was waitressing at night too, because I had a little bit of a horse addiction where I showed horses, and horses are expensive to maintain. And because I competed, the fees were always large. So my second job paid for all of that. So I wasn't completely in the lurch, but it wasn't a fun thing. And then it still took me getting let go from a position, and it wasn't me just getting let go. A company I worked for got shut down. The last corporate job I had as director of business development got shut down for being a Ponzi scheme. And the FBI, the SEC, and the US Postal Service all had their guns drawn, 8 o'clock in the morning, told us to put our stuff down, step away from our desks. And just like that, no job, no paycheck. I was living on my boat at the time, and I was a single mom with a 5-year-old kid. And here we are. Like, so when people tell me you don't know what it's like to be scared and to not know what you're going to do next, no, I know exactly what it's like. It's happened to me twice in my life. And the second time, I got fed up with other people having control over my income. And I went, what can I do? Thankfully, at the time, it was when the internet was just starting, and I was already doing things on the side to help companies in San Diego put their businesses online and go from print marketing to digital marketing. And they didn't even know much about the internet. They knew intranet, but they didn't really know internet. Um, so that was like 90s. And I pivoted and I took the chance and I started my own thing and I've never looked back. Was it the last business I ever started or owned? No. I had a horse farm after that, a boarding and training facility, which was my passion. And then I started the business I'm in now. 26 years later, I'm still here. And that's an interesting story too. So while I understand everybody's fear about going into business for yourself, and people have commented too on a bunch of my videos, like, being an entrepreneur is in your blood. No, paying your bills is in your blood. Anybody can learn how to run a business. Everybody can learn it. It's not something that's as hard as you think it is. Truly, it is not. I wish that the things that I teach, someone had taught me because nobody told me for a number of years. And I found out the hard way that you should track your income weekly, that you should track things quarterly, and how to do it. Nobody taught me how to price, how to put together packages, how to know what to charge. So with my marketing company, I had what's called scope creep all the time because I didn't have change fees when someone wanted to make change, and it burnt me out to the point where I walked away from marketing. I'm like, "I'm never doing it again." When you're in your own business, you have to always do marketing. But in today's day and age, like, we didn't have the internet back then. There was no social media. We had the internet, but we didn't have the kind of usage on the internet like we have now. So while people tell me all their reasons why it can't work for them, it worked for me. Yeah, I had to hustle, and, like, I wanna just take all the fear out of all of it for all of you, right? Hey, Jason, what's up? I can't see, like, I can't tell on the TikTok. I have my app. I have a web browser open. I can see your comments, but I can't see who's actually watching or anything like that for whatever reason. Anywho, so say hello if you are on YouTube or on Facebook because we got viewers over there and y'all have not commented yet. I want to make sure you can see, you can hear. I am good. I've been so busy. Thank you for the heart me, Mr. Jason. I was so busy, so busy. Technology has not really been on my side this last week. And then we had a bunch of flooding problems, water problems from last week into this week. So I had to deal with that stuff too. But I've just been wrapping stuff up, making content. I'm getting ready to go on vacation for the first time in years. I'm leaving in a couple of weeks. And so I have a lot of work I have to get ahead of right now. But yeah, anywho. So yeah, Jason, did you follow up on your action steps after you did your income blueprint? Curious. Did you take action yet? I know you said you had things just to act on. Question is, did you do it yet? Because that's always the hard one, right? Sometimes, especially if you get busy. Anywho, I'm here to answer your questions. So if you guys are like, you really do want to do something because you can't sit back and just wait another week to put in a bunch more applications into the void, and you're really starting to consider taking control of your income, starting something on your own, and you have questions, ask them here. I will help you out. I asked around, found out it wasn't confident enough to market. Okay, so oh, that's right. It was about runes. So let me tell you, Jason, don't ask anybody. Just do it. Honestly, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. The thing with runes, like, and confidence, because I can tell you as someone who did readings professionally for a number of years, I did missing person cases, I did investigations, right? Every time I would put something new out or do it, demonstrate publicly, even mediumship and stuff like that, I'd be lying if I told you I had confidence. There wasn't confidence. You don't need confidence. That's not a requirement for being successful. You know what is a requirement? Do it anyways. One of the clients I'm working with right now who left government and she's starting her own consulting agency, as she was getting closer to her last day, she was like, I'm terrified. I'm like, okay, you show horses. You jump those bad boys. What do you do when you're coming up to a fence and you're afraid your horse is going to back out and you got a 4-foot spread? I'm like, are you not afraid ever? Because she does cross country and she's like, I'm scared, but I do it anyways. I said, right. Same here. Be afraid, acknowledge it, do it anyways. Confidence is not a requirement to be successful. And I hear that one all the time. People are like waiting to start their thing until they're confident. If you wait for that, like, confidence comes from doing something repeatedly. Confidence comes just by getting the reps in. Practice, practice, practice. Like, that is what that's about. Don't let lack of confidence stop you from doing the thing you really love. And I bet you're a lot better at it than you think you are, because that is how it actually works, honestly. One of the questions I got asked the other day, someone was saying, like, they don't have any money, any startup money. Am I ovulating? Gee, what kind of question is that? Like, I have no problem knocking people off of my stream, but, like, what is up with that? Honestly, people are rude. Like, most ridiculous things. Anywho, you don't always need startup money. Like, when I started this business, it wasn't with any money. I actually had to pay off the bills at my horse boarding and training facility in order to move. And when I did, it took all my money other than what I had to move with. And I went to a new state where I knew nobody, rented a place, sight unseen, and didn't know what I was going to do for work. Little did I know, a skill that I had had my entire life is what I ended up doing for work, and it paid. It started the first day I made $45 subcontracting on a website, and then the next day 85 until a month later I was making 300 bucks a day, and within that year I hit six figures. So when people tell me I can't do it because I don't have money, not everything takes startup money, especially nowadays when y'all have like computers in your pocket, right? The internet. There's so many things that you can do from the computer on your phone. Honestly, small businesses hire people all the time. Other businesses will hire for your skills. And here's the reality that a lot of people won't like, don't say or don't know. The companies that are laying people off will bring people in as contractors. Why? And I warned people about this during COVID. They were going to start getting rid of more and more of the workers that they had to pay benefits to. Your health insurance has gotten very expensive, right? And these corporations are saying it's because of AI. AI is not the reason they're cutting jobs. It's been proven time and time and time again that AI does not save companies money, it actually costs them money. Truly. So, just saying, like, I know that's what they're saying publicly. It all has to do with their profit margin. Always has, always will. And health insurance costs have skyrocketed along with everything else. Power costs, right? Yeah, they're using AI, but it isn't creating more profit and profitability for them, more income for them. But if they can get rid of the core of their full-time employees and bring in contractors, 1099 contractors to do the same work, which is what they're doing, they don't have to pay health insurance. There is no 401k. You guys following me? Put yes in the comments if you know what I'm talking about, because that's the deal. Like, they don't want to pay benefits. And if you come in as a contractor, they're not responsible for you, right? And they can end their contract. They do little short contracts. You're not their employee. They don't have to pay the payroll tax. They don't have to pay unemployment tax on you. And they don't have to pay unemployment either. So there are those jobs out there, but again, they're freelance contract work. They are not employed. So those jobs are not running on job boards. You have to know where to find them, but they do exist. So for those of you who are like, there's no work. No, there is work. You just have to know where to look. And then you need to make sure that your business is structured properly from a financial standpoint, and a legal creation standpoint, that you're protected. So a lot of people ask me about that. Like, do I get an LLC? Yeah, that's fine. LLC will separate your business from your personal. So if you ever get sued, they can't take your personal if you do it right. But on top of LLC, then you need to elect S Corp, sole proprietor corporation, or C Corp for the tax breaks that corporations get. Otherwise, you end up paying, if you don't have any of that set up, you end up paying self-employment tax, which is the highest rate of tax. So you've got to be careful of that too. All this stuff is stuff that I teach and I help people with. It's not as complicated as I think people think it is. It just isn't. And I've been doing this for 30 years. So I know, I know all about all those laws. You know, it's good to have a good accountant, or CPA, or someone who's a certified tax advisor that can help you understand the best way to write things off. Right. But if you are an S Corp, you have a lot more write offs, and you're not paying self employment tax. You pay yourself a portion of whatever the company that you're contracting for pays your entity, and then you pay yourself from that, less whatever expenses, internet, electricity, all those things. So there's ways to set it up so that you're not kind of screwed at the end of it. But if you go into consulting, you actually need to make sure that you have good solid contracts written, and that's not hard either. How many of you guys use Claude? Put it in the chat, because I don't know how many people are aware of, um, like, with Claude, there is now skills, legal skills to help you do just that, like write simple contracts. And I'm not talking like if you were to work with the government, you would want a like really good, um, a really good contract. I don't trust the damn government. You do a bit on the side. Cool. Right now, people are stringing together all kinds of things on the side. And I think the more independent you are, and the more you have a plan and you take care of all of the stuff that I'm talking about, you will never look at working for an employer the same. Honestly, it gives you freedom. And I'm not talking about just, like people think, oh, she must be talking about just doing online business. No. In fact, a lot of businesses are better off right now. Individuals are better off starting locally. Something that starting something in your local area that even if the internet went down, because we've seen hacks happen, that you still have access to your clientele, you still have access to making money. There are a lot of online businesses that you can do. There's a lot of things online. But yeah. So Jason, in Claude, and I don't consider myself an expert on Claude, but I'm pretty damn good at it working on the desktop app with Claude Code, Claude Cowork, and it's taken a lot to understand how exactly all three, the chat, the Cowork, and Code, work together so that you can get consistent flow when you're working through a project. And because I have big projects I'm working on, I'm learning that it isn't about creating a bunch of MD files too. You actually have to create skills, but Claude has built-in skills for legal. They're building skills right now for financial. So for those of you who are like, I'm not good at balancing books and bookkeeping, Claude's already building products for the financial market, for accounting and for taxes and for bookkeeping that make it easy. In fact, I know QuickBooks Pro has all that, but I don't use QuickBooks Pro anymore. I just got rid of that in January. I use Zero now, which is far, far more affordable. And it took a long time for me to finally break away from QuickBooks, but I'm not a QuickBooks fan. I hate QuickBooks. It's not intuitive, it's not easy, and they just double, triple, quadruple the price. So even things like that, like I'm happy to answer your questions about that too. Anywho, what other questions do you guys have? Like I said, I have not been live for a bit. For a minute. I've been head down getting this whole project done, setting up a new 3-day challenge, the Ignite Your Income challenge, and putting that on my website so that it's ready to go. And it is ready to go, and it is live, and it is something that y'all for $15 can work through to discover skills and then find the market and what people are willing to pay, who's willing to pay for you to use those skills to solve their problems. And then we intersect those two and give you some action steps to move forward on them in that 3-day challenge. So you actually walk away with something, right? This is not just like, let's play with it. No, let's find the route that's going to make you money. That's kind of my whole point right now. Like, I started to see all this stuff going on with the job market at the beginning of the year. And I'm like, at some point, I'm going to have to step up. I can vouch for the blueprint system. It's one heck of a deep dive. It is a deep dive. Everybody who's done the blueprint has literally said the same thing. They said it's a deep dive, but it's useful. It gives you actual things. But the 3-day challenge, Jason, is it's not the blueprint. Like the blueprint goes deep. It goes into the deep excavation to really get like super specific about building an income blueprint around your life, your needs, your desires, your hobbies, your lifestyle, all those things. Where the 3-day challenge, that's more of a quick start thing. I still recommend everybody do the blueprint because it's literally worth thousands of dollars, and what you come out of it is actually so useful because you have your audience mapped out for you too. You know what to offer, you know more than one thing, and you have your audience mapped out. And that audience mapping is stuff that takes months on your own, sometimes years. I know people that are doing consulting right now that have never even done that work. The 3-day challenge is $15. Yes. Yeah. But it's there to help people discover the one skill that they can monetize. And the second day we go through the market research process of digging up who's asking for what you have and what they'll pay for it, and then we intersect them, put them together in a map so that you're not just throwing something out with a hope, a wish, and a prayer. You actually have the research to back, oh, okay, someone will pay for this. Because that's the important thing. You don't know how many times I've created things before doing the research, thinking this is a really great idea. I should do that. And then putting all the work in, and it was like, yeah, nobody wants it. Nobody wants to pay for it. And then you just wasted how much time. And in the market that we're in right now, the time that we're in right now, like, who's got time to waste? You need to make income, right? And I'm so surprised at how many people in my comments of my videos lately are like, "I have no skills." I'm like, "Everybody has skills. Everybody, unless you just graduated from high school, everybody has skills." And I know high school kids. There's a kid on TikTok that and I don't know if you guys have seen him. I'm sure he's on Instagram too. He is making crocheted custom handbags, and they are gorgeous. Like, they look like my Michael Kors purse, but they're hand crocheted, and the hardware he uses, beautiful, like, beautiful. And he's like 16 years old. So when people tell me I don't have any skills, I'm like, you're not looking in the right place. You're just not looking in the right place. Usually, your most valuable skill is the one that you give away for free because you don't even realize. And that's why I wish you guys would comment. Tell me what you're grappling with, because honestly, I can pull like potential jobs out of understanding what you did at your last job, what you've done your whole life. It's not that hard. I have a little superpower too. This dog is ridiculous right now. She's just ridiculous. Macy, Macy. All right, let's see. What was the other questions I got? Where do I start? That was one of them. And that answer, I think I've answered the same to that question no matter where someone's asked it. You start by knowing what you have. You start by taking a skill and knowledge inventory and know what you have, right? Not what you think you should have, what you actually have right now. And it's not, like I said, it's not as hard as you think. Someone else asked me, do you have to have a website? Do you have to have a logo? Do you have no, not where you are right now. Eventually, having a brand and all that stuff will come, but people put that ahead of the actual business, service, product, and income. Make the money first. All that other stuff can come later. To start, literally test your ideas out in the marketplace. And there's so many ways to turn the things that we do on a day-to-day basis into money. In fact, when someone told me the other day, we were having a DM conversation. They're like, "I have no skills." I'm like, "Do you know how to cook?" I'm like, "Yeah." "How often do you cook?" "Well, every day." "Doesn't everybody?" And I'm like, what kind of food do you cook?" I think they thought I was crazy, but the reality is I was asking for a reason because most people know how to cook. Here's the catch. Most people don't like to cook. We live in a fast food culture. If you go to your local grocery store, Walmart included, there's pre-made meals, single meals, right? Where I live in Texas, we have HEB. at HEB, they have the whole section of pre-made, easy to use food, right? Like, you just pop it in your oven. That's actually the most practical angle I've heard about. Yeah. So, if you cook, you can make meal prep stuff and sell it. It's not that hard. I know people that bake that have turned that into businesses. I mean, someone who someone commented on my video the other day on Instagram when I asked the question, like, "What's the one thing people come to you for?" And she said, "To plan their parties and decorate their houses." I'm like, "That is a very lucrative business to the right clientele." If you think about how much money is spent on a birthday party, a a shower, a quinceañera, all of those, the people who are spending money on those things still have money, they will pay you, right? I mean, 20 years ago, being outside of Texas, I didn't know when I came to Texas, I was shocked, right? I've been in Texas 6 years. What a big business it is to hang people's Christmas lights and then to take them back down. Like, that's an entire industry here. Like, making what's called mums, I guess. Have you guys heard of that? They're like these god awful, gaudy, big things that the kids wear during prom and whatnot. Like, I never knew what a mum was, and they're not cheap. They're expensive. They're all handmade. My daughter showed them to me because she was like, "Maybe I should make mums, mom." That was before she got into competitive dance wear, and costumes, and I was shocked, and I was like, "I bet that's a good business." It sure beats that dollar profit margin you have on keychains and, badge holders and headbands. She's like, "Yeah, right." You know? That's the other thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with making those things if you're crafty, but the inventory and the supplies are high on that stuff unless you already have it. There's a lot of businesses that do drop shipping, like Printful, Printify. They do cups, canvas bags, and all of that. I don't like those kind of businesses just because the profit margin's very low. But if you enjoy making that stuff, you can make a pretty penny. You just have to be committed to making your designs and then putting all of it up in your store, right? And on Facebook, it's easy to build a catalog of that sort of stuff, and if you do it around whatever holidays are going on, like we have Father's Day coming up, then you can make money. You can sell it on not just Amazon, like, I don't know if you guys realize a lot of the places like Amazon, Home Depot, who else am I thinking? Lowe's, Target, a lot of those places are doing the same thing Amazon does, which is sell other, other people's stuff, right? They expect you to ship it and whatever, but it's sort of the same thing that works with Amazon. If you've never been on what's the website? Whatnot? It's like a resale website where they have sort of like TikTok shop lives. You can sell your old clothes. Like, there's so many ways to make money. You just have to be willing to look at things differently. You know what I mean? And then I hear people say the market's too saturated. If you think there's a limitation, you're gonna find it. I'll just say that. Like, I've seen a lot of people in my comments fighting for limitations when it comes to starting their own business, making income. And if you have a job and you think you're safe, think again, because I don't know that any jobs are safe unless you own the company or sit on the board. Honestly, even if you sit on the board, I just don't. And I think that what we're seeing with the job market's only gonna continue. I was just reading an article today that said 99% of the CEOs they talked to said that they had plans for layoffs in the next 6 months. We're days away from June 1st. So in the next 6 months, more companies are gonna do more layoffs. And a lot of it has to do with the cost of goods right now, shipping, transport, yada, yada, yada. It isn't about AI because AI is not as good as they say it is. It actually does eat a ton of tokens. And until they stop making it tokenized, it's going to continue to be unaffordable. Microsoft um, is stopping using their commercial licenses for their people because it's costing them too much money. So, again, and if you haven't learned AI, I think anybody that really if you want to learn AI because that's a job that will be around for a long time, and I understand a lot of people have conflicts with it, but you gotta understand it's a tool. AI is not going away just as much as everyone was freaked out about the internet. Internet's not going away. AI is not gonna go away. It's here to stay. How we build the data centers to run AI is where we need to focus so that it's done responsibly, sustainably, and that's not a hard thing either. I'm trying to think of all the questions I've gotten, things that people have said to me, and comments I've answered. I know one of them was, like, if I've always worked for someone else, how do I know I can do it on my own? If you're hungry, you'll figure it out, or you'll work with someone like me. I'm making it really affordable to work with me in my programs. And I've built them in such a way where I don't have to charge as much as other people or as I normally would because I've built them in a way that's sustainable enough for me. I can help people that way. But I'm giving away my knowledge as a business owner who's been successful for over 30 years as an entrepreneur and as someone who knows how to do marketing and business structure and operations and all that stuff. So, yeah. Anywho, what questions do you guys have? I think we got a couple of people on YouTube. Y'all need to comment so I know you are here, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you're struggling with. Let me know if you have questions. Someone else was what did they say? Someone said, "What do you do if you have risk aversion?" Right? Like, and meaning I don't want to start a business because I have very little tolerance to, you know, doing risky things, and it's like, okay, well, if you don't have a job right now, is it more risky to keep just applying, or is it more risky to start a business with no overhead? I say start the business. Again, it's not that hard. The most important part about being successful is knowing what you're going to offer and start with one thing, not a bunch of things. If you try to do a bunch of things, your energy and your focus scatters and nothing's going to land. I always tell my people you build one path first. Once that path starts earning income consistently, then add a second stream of income and then a third stream and keep adding. The more you can get that's like automated or is you make it once and it delivers while you sleep, think ebook, think course, something like that. It doesn't require you to be awake and present to earn money. And so many people have so much knowledge and it's just sitting on a shelf somewhere. Or you give it away for free because you're like, I don't think I can charge for that. You'd be surprised what you can actually get paid to do. Seriously, like I said, everybody cooks. So when people tell me they don't have any skills, I'm like, that's not true. Everybody has skills. Everybody has skills. So yeah. Anyhow, I know it's Saturday night. I know I'm on earlier than I normally on, but I have been working all day. I haven't had a day off in like over a month. So I took my dad out to dinner and thought I'm going to get my live stream done because I haven't been on and do it early so that I can chill out for the next several hours before I go to bed. I'm gonna get a good night's sleep, and then I'm taking tomorrow off. So I have to go shopping and get some stuff for my trip ready. But yeah, I'm gonna start coming on more during the week, probably during the day, like morning time, to answer some of these questions too. Usually I come on at night, but I'm starting to get my stuff settled in enough where I don't have to wait till nighttime to do to do my live streams. I can do them during the day if you guys are around. Anyhow, how are you guys? From a whole other lens. Let's just take a whole other beat. From a how's your emotions? How have you been doing? From an astrological perspective, things have been pretty intense. And I know all of my people in my groups, like Hidden Wisdom and Charm Life, have been getting hammered with all kinds of intense energy. And I know the entire month of May has been very stressful. There's a lot going on in the world, and then B, um, our own emotional reactions and the things that are surfacing in our own lives in reaction to what's going on in the world has been on a whole other level. Whole other level. That is gonna pass and calm down a bit in June. I think things will start to ease up slightly, not greatly, but slightly, so that things are a little bit easier. My hope is once we get into June and it's not so emotional that people can start to really figure out their next steps. Like, now's the time. I've been telling people for the last 2 years, "Get ready. Get ready," and I've been talking about the job market for that long too, from a different perspective and angle, certainly. But now, like, if you don't jump on it now, and then you burn through your savings, the part that's breaking me right now and hurts my heart to watch is the young people who are, like, on the other side of the country from their families. They lost their job, they got kicked out of their place, and they're living in their cars, and it's like, "Make your way home," you know? People have asked me a lot of times, like, what it's like to have 4 generations in one house, you know? I've always, even though my kids are grown and I sold the house that they grew up in when they reached, adulthood, whatever, and then I moved to Seattle, and then I moved to Texas with my dad and my youngest. I've always kept enough rooms so that they always have somewhere to come back to. Well, thank God I did, because they moved to Texas thinking they were gonna buy a house, my oldest and her husband and my granddaughter, and right then, the interest rates went up and everything got super unaffordable, and they still live with us. My dad lives with me because he can't afford to live on his own, but, we all have our own little space. And I think a lot more families are gonna start to see that as a necessity as well. And it's like not the end of the world. It's funny, my daughter first told me when they decided to stay with us after 6 months, she was like, "Is it okay?" I was like, "If it gives you the money, because 'cause you're paying less in rent, if it gives you the money to have more of a life, why be house poor when we already have a house?" Like, and I like having them around because my dad's getting older, and if something happens to him, and they were glad they were around in 24 when I had cancer, and I was grateful they were here to help. My daughter helped take me to my chemo appointments and my doctor's appointments and ask the doctor the questions that I couldn't remember to ask because I had chemo brain. So, there's all those things that are beneficial too. But for the young people that are like, I feel like I'm, back at mom and dad, don't think like that. Be grateful if you have that opportunity. If any of you have lost your jobs and you're like, I'm just going to keep trying, 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 save some of your money. Go home if you need to. Don't feel bad. It's going to happen more and more. I'm seeing old people in their cars too. s- Comments from some of the videos that I'm watching come across my feed. And it's sad to me, but this is where we all have to kind of have each other's backs. In the next episode in my podcast, I'm actually recording here in the next few days. It's about all the things that are sort of coming together and then what we can do collectively, 'cause season 2 is about we the people, what we can do collectively to make things shift, to make things change, but also, in our communities and for ourselves and within our families. I'm not of the mindset every man for himself. I'm of the mindset we all need to hold each other up and do as much as we can to help each other through these really difficult times. I'm in a rebuild phase right now. It's only been the last few months that I've put my focus back on business because I was fighting for my life for almost 2 years, going through chemo and radiation. So, and when thankfully my business, the way I'd structured it, I still had income coming in and didn't have to do a bunch of one-on-ones. I was able to let go of a bunch of my one-on-one clients, and then some of my clients, just those relationships naturally concluded because we'd been working together for over a year. So when I went through chemo and radiation, I had the space to do that, but I have groups, programs that continue to pay me. Definitely not at the um, rate that I was used to getting because I wasn't re-enrolling people for nearly 2 years, but it kept me alive and kept me going, and it still to this day does. So, it all depends on how you build your business. It all depends on how you set up whatever you're doing. Everyone can figure something out, like, literally. Everybody has skills. Everybody has knowledge. Everybody has experience and expertise in something. I never thought that I could make a living doing what I do and have done for the last 2 decades. I never thought people would pay me to help them, and yet people came to me over and over and over again to tell me their problems. I can go to a coffee shop anywhere, sit down, and before you know it, someone's sitting down at my table telling me their life story. And it was like that my whole life. So I never thought that that was something I could actually get paid for. But every time that person would get up, they're like, "I feel so much better. You have a really good advice. Thanks for listening." Little did I know that that was a skill that people would pay for. And I've been at it now for 26 years. So, same with the horse thing. I was always told, like, "You can't make money with horses." Ha, funny. I made 6 figures in my horse farm, which is unheard of. But I did it because I built the business properly. Nothing we can't do. All we have to do is know how to structure the business properly and to have the support, like create the support around us and the boundaries around us so the business doesn't drain us. That's all you have to do. But the first step is A, find out what you can offer that the market is already asking for. That's it. That's all it takes. And the market is global. Last time I checked, we have the internet. You can do business globally. I have clients from many different countries, from Japan to the Netherlands to Germany to England to France. I have clients all over. I have clients in China. I have some in Mexico City, in Belize, like all over the world. And I would not have been able to reach those clients if it had not been for the internet and social media. Crazy. It's crazy how that works. So when people tell me there's nothing available, you can't make you can make money. You just need to know how. And if you have the tools sitting in front of you in the roadmap, which is what I help people with, it's not difficult. You just got to stick to the plan. Once you have a 90-day roadmap, action, take it and keep moving. And don't get distracted and don't get negative. Life is what you make it. Anywho, all right. I have to stay on here for, I think, 10 more minutes. So if you guys have questions, ask them. If you're going through something, with the whole job thing, if you're scared because you know you have to make a pivot now. I'll share a story with you. I have a client that was doing government contracting, and a few years ago, like a lot of like he has a tech recruiting company, or he has a recruiting company, and a lot of the people he was recruiting for was for these government contracts. That industry dried up, and he is like, him and his wife had to scale their lives way, 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 way back, and he finally pivoted to a different industry and started recruiting for tech startups. Same knowledge base, but he was so used to doing the government contracts because that's what he'd done for over a decade. He never really thought about pivoting industries. Well, he took his expertise and what he's good at, and he just shifted it to a new industry, tech recruiting for startups. He said he made more in 3 months than he did in that 3 years when government contracts started to dry up. Simple pivot. And I think a lot of people actually are sitting in the boat where all you need to do is make a mindset shift first and pivot your thinking and look at how you can apply your skills that you used in one industry. Like if you're in healthcare, how does it apply to other industries? How do you take that expertise? Like truck drivers. I was talking to someone the other day. They're, "Oh, I've been driving truck for 20 years. What else can I do?" I'm like, "Well, let's see. What did your job entail? Just driving?" And I'm like, "There's no way as a truck driver you just drove. You mean to tell me you didn't handle logistics from your dispatch to the place you were dropping off at?" And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, but that's no big deal." "No, that's logistics. You handled scheduling, you handled time management, you had always looked at what's the best, most efficient route. Those are actually monetizable skills." Honestly, like routing, logistics, time management, that's all stuff that can transfer to a different industry. You saw it as just sitting behind the wheel and driving your truck, but you know damn well that you made it to your deliveries on time with your shipment intact. Well, yeah. Okay. So sit down and make a list of what you really did because you weren't just sitting behind the wheel playing on your CB and listening to TikTok videos. It's like, you're right. And then came back with a huge list of things that over the last 2 decades he did, right? Funny how that works when you get your head out of it. I'm working with someone who left government and who's going into the private consulting world. And it's funny because her qualifications blow my mind. And because it's she's been in survival mode because stress run working for the government. But on top of that, she's just been in the government, well degreed, big credentials, held some great positions. But how does that translate to private sector? All it is a title change. The way government labels roles and titles is just different than the way the private sector calls roles and titles. And when you get that and you shift your resume to the language that the hiring managers are looking for, you can go in that direction. Or to the people who actually hire consultants, it just has to be in their language. The same applies to anything you're selling, any service, any product. You've got to speak in the language of your buyer so that they can understand what you're saying and that it's for them. It's the same with companies. Like, human beings are behind all of these decisions that people seem to think like it does. My skills don't transfer. Your skills transfer. People that are really good in calming crisis, that are in healthcare, nurses and stuff, I've seen them and they're like, "What can I do outside of the hospital? What can you do outside of the what?" There are people that are licensed nurses going around and doing mobile IV drips. And it's a business. It's a very lucrative business. Like, very like, they have the hangover bags. Have you guys seen those? Someone thought to do that, and it's an actual business, literally. Cheaper too than having an actual office in a clinic. There's all kinds of different ways to make money, like I said. I don't care what industry you're in. There's a way to turn your skills into your own business. Market it, package it, and sell it to the people who will pay for it. People that are like, I don't know what I get. Do you like animals? Did you know that people will pay for you to stay at their house and they would rather go with someone with high recommendations that they don't have to find on Rover because a lot of people don't trust the people on Rover? There's that. Same with dog walking. Like, my guy who comes to my house and does our dog nails, trims our dog nails, he whenever he comes, I think I spend between $50 and $60 for 2 dogs. He has to trim Milo's little, foot hairs, his fuzzy feet on top of it, and I always give him a good tip. He's got a waiting list, months long waiting list, because everyone knows that he does work really patiently and that he's reliable and he shows up on time. And I don't think he's ever at my house for longer than 30 minutes, and he makes 60 bucks. So again, do you know how to trim dog nails? Do you know how to wash dogs? Seriously. Like, there are businesses out there. You just have to put services and a price on them, and then let people know that you're doing it. It's not that hard. For people that, like, you're the one everybody calls when they're moving because you know how to load a truck, that's a skill. You know, you can turn that into a business. Decluttering people's homes, if you're highly into organization, that's a job people pay for. Like, there is not a lack of businesses that can be started. There's a lack of jobs and companies hiring. And then you just create the job on your own, the service on your own, and go to town. Like, no kidding. So I'm curious how many of you guys are watching right now and you're like, I don't know what to offer. Like, what did you do? What have you done your career? There's always things that even small businesses, tasks that we have to do that we don't want to have to do. We would rather pay somebody to do it for us. Like, that's the deal with a lot of people that hire bookkeepers, you know, and anymore with everything online, you can do so much of that stuff remote where you have an online access to someone's books and you just take care of balancing their books every month. Get 5 or 6 of those clients a month. You're not working as much and you're not splitting the profits with a company. And then people will say to me, well, what about healthcare insurance? There are now places that, like doctor's offices, that are doing sort of subscription, I call it subscription-based medicine, and it's membership based, right? So you pay like $100 a month, and then they have however many patients that are paying that monthly fee. And then you get your visits and your prescriptions and all of that. To me, that's cheaper than having insurance. Yeah, if you need catastrophic insurance, that may be different, but you can actually buy separate catastrophic health insurance policies and then go see somebody in a membership clinic like that. And actually, there are functional medicine doctors, which I prefer, that are doing those types of clinics now because health insurance has gotten super expensive. And for the clinics, they're not making that much money when they're billing through Medicare and all of that and insurance. And so many denials are happening. The entire medical industry is having to reshuffle and pivot and find different ways to provide their services in a way where they can stay afloat and stay open, and their patients can still afford um, to see them and get the medical care that they deserve. So again, I know there's a lot of industries that are in fact contracting right now, but that doesn't mean that there aren't available space to fill the gap where these industries are contracting. Got to get innovative, and you've got to take some responsibility and accountability for your financial future. For me, I think it's better not to hand over my financial destiny and security to some company. I've learned it twice now that you're just a number, right? And if they need to cut you to keep their profit margins up to make their investors and shareholders happy, they will. They will. And they are starting to cut more of the higher level people. And I know even with that one comment on Instagram, ageism is real. I get it. You know, my dad worked for Alaska Airlines, and when he retired, he actually was offered early retirement, and he had just got done with battling throat cancer and going through treatment. So when they offered him and all of his little friends early retirement, I told him he should take it, and then he moved to Colorado to stay with me. And the reality is, it was the right move because you know what ended up happening is a bunch of the people who did not take early retirement just lost their entire retirement. So they should have taken it. They would have at least gotten something, and they didn't. They got laid off, and they didn't get anything. So you got to figure out where you're at and what's best for you right now. But I will be back at some point this week, probably during the day. I'm taking tomorrow off. So if you guys have questions and you want to come back, just make sure you're following me. I'm going to go live on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Weirdly, all of the changes on TikTok in the last week has been messing with my views and everything else. I don't know what's going on. And then my Instagram's starting to get traction, which I wasn't even focused on, but suddenly it's getting traction, and so is my new YouTube channel. So I'll be here, but make sure you're following me, especially on YouTube, because that platform seems a little more stable and a lot less censored, if you know what I mean. And I think you do. Anyhow, all right. So before I go, who else is here? Say hello, please, and thank you. Say hello. Let me know that you're here, that you're watching. Was this helpful? I hope that it was. Do you want me to cover more and more of this stuff as we move forward through all of these fun times with the job market, the economy, and gas prices and all the things? Or would you rather me talk about different things, even in the same vein? I would like to know because it helps me at least plan. I like to have a plan before I come on live. Like today, I thought, well, I'll just like go live and start answering some of the comments that I've been getting, like in real time, answer it instead of trying to type on my little phone screen answers to comments. My hope is that more and more of you actually are willing to put your stuff in the chat or at least email me before I go live so that I can address it. If you don't want to put it in chat for all the world to see, y'all are welcome to email me. Just go to my website. My email's there. Like there's a million different ways, or you can send me a DM on whatever platform you're watching me on, and then I can answer it in my next live stream. I'm here to help, like truly just here to help. Again, I know what it's like to stress out and wonder how the heck you're going to pay your bills. I know what it's like to stare down the barrel and go, my unemployment's almost out. What am I going to do? Or my savings is almost out. What am I going to do? I've been there and I've done that. And it's not a fun feeling. But when you don't sit around and wait for someone else to be sort of the saving grace in the matter, then it becomes a lot more it feels a lot more safe because you actually start to gain momentum very quickly. So, yeah, in any case, I hope you guys have a good Saturday. I hope that this was helpful. If you have not taken the Income Archetype Quiz, hit my bio. All of my links are there, like for my website, for my everything. All my links are there. I just posted up some longer videos on my YouTube, and they're all in a playlist. If you uh, check check out my playlist, it should be the number one playlist other than my podcast. And then I will be releasing a new episode for season 2 for the podcast now that I've caught up on all my stuff. And yeah, anyhow, have a good night, you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. June is upon us. We got one more day. One more, right? Yeah, the 31st. We have one more day and we're into the month of June. Things will get better. I think a little bit easier. And it would be a lot easier if we just would stop this war with Iran and the oil would start flowing again. I think a lot of us would have a lot more peace of mind knowing with some certainty that, yeah, we can afford gas at some point in the near future. Right now, none of us know. All of us are paying through the nose, and I'm no different. So, yeah.